Hey there. Welcome back to another episode of the Be Amplified podcast. I'm Amy Patee, the show host. As always, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening in. And if you're stopping by for the first time, this is a show for conscious female entrepreneurs who want to let their energy lead in their business, meaning they want to be deeply aligned with their authentic self, with their radiance, and with their essential blueprint for being here on the planet. So if that's you, stick around and subscribe if today's show resonates with you. And today's show, I wanted to do a little reflection, a little post-eclipse reflection. We just moved through a major eclipse portal. I believe I talked about it in the past couple episodes. And I want to start off this show by just proposing a question to you. How are you? And maybe better said is, who are you? Who are you now coming out of this eclipse portal? Do you feel like a completely different person, or has some part of your life been completely transformed? So I shared a little bit in the last episode, like, whoa, I am shifting, I am changing. There are some major things happening in my world. And I'll share with you today where I'm at is I definitely feel like an old identity was washed away, and I am now standing in a new identity, and I'm settling into it. I am still orienting to this new identity, this new reality. And what's really interesting about this new space that I feel I'm in is that my business was built on the foundation of my old identity. Because when you are a conscious, a soulful entrepreneur, when you are, in a way, the brand of your business, you really do, in a sense, build your business on the foundation of you. And if you're tuning into this podcast, right, and you are someone who is deeply invested in being your authentic self, living out your purpose for being here on the planet, I'm pretty sure you've built your business on the foundation of you. So what happens when you change? Well, in my case, a lot of what I'm doing currently in my business suddenly feels misaligned, suddenly feels off. It's as if I don't have the energy to be doing what I was previously doing. And well, I'll take this podcast, for instance. I've been doing this podcast now once a week for quite some time. And, it's slowly building. I'm getting more and more listeners. And I've been really excited about doing this podcast because it's easy for me to sit down and record the episodes. Editing is not so difficult. I can really do the entire project myself. And it's one of my main marketing strategies in my business. Well, since this shift, this identity shift, I have had a lack of words. I have had a lack of motivation. I just haven't had the energy to record an episode. And yes, I'm sitting down and doing it right now. But the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is because we need behind the scenes truth bombs every once in a while. I think sometimes we look out, upon the world, we look at other people's businesses, and we see the external, shiny, finished piece of their business, or finished presentation, I should say, of their business. We don't see the behind the scenes where there's all this messy stuff going on, where people might be questioning themselves, questioning what they're doing, having tech issues, having team issues, struggling to pay their bills, having launches that flop, all kinds of things can be happening behind the scenes. And we rarely get to see the reality of those things when we look out, when we look on social media, when we look online and see other people doing business. But I'm sharing a little behind the scenes with you because likely you're feeling some of this yourself, but it probably has played out in a different way. But maybe you've had an identity shift as well, like me. And when these shifts happen, when you are somebody who really is, again, wanting to be deeply aligned in your work, and you are sensitive to energy, you are on an evolutionary journey, and you are going through transformations from time to time, it can be difficult to keep your business going, to keep running your business when you are the brand, and yet you've just gone through this huge transformation and everything has changed. So this is where I'm at. And as a little heads up, I do think that while I'm in this shifting terrain and letting myself settle into my new identity, I do think what I'm going to do is begin to record these podcasts for an every other week release instead of every week. And that will likely be reflected and rolled out through my inner circle email as well, which I've been sending out every week. I'm going to shift that to at least every other week, I believe, at this point. And we'll see where it goes from there. And I've got things happening in my business. I'm still teaching my human design and business immersion right now, which wraps up next month. I've got a couple offerings coming up for the later fall. I'm doing my one-on-one work, and I've got this new idea, this new thing that I am starting to pursue as well. And I know it's like a cliffhanger here, but I will share that with you in a future episode, what this new thing is that landed during the eclipse portal for me. But it is going to take my work in a little bit of a different direction. And it just feels like all the pieces of all the things that I've been doing are getting rearranged to be better aligned for this new identity that is emerging from within me. And something that I want to share with you that can be really helpful, I think, and a tangible thing for you to actually do after today's episode is to take a moment to, of course, check in. Where are you? Who are you? How's your business doing? Where are you with everything? Do a little check-in. And if you are someone who has been trying to build out your business, build out the structure of your business in a way so that you can generate the income that you desire, this is specifically for you. So if you're already making all the money you want to be making, you feel really happy about that, you feel really solid with that, great. You could just cruise through the rest of the episode, or you could skip the rest of the episode. But if you're somebody who is still trying to figure out the pieces and how they all fit together and how you can do your business and, again, reach your income goals, this little part that I'm going to share with you is for you today. Because this is what shifted for me during this eclipse portal. So over the last year, I have had my financial goal for my business. I've written it down. I look at it, a few times a week. And it's a goal at this point. I have not reached the goal. And I have been working towards it. And I am dedicated and committed to reaching that goal. So I have been exploring a lot of different structures, a lot of different ideas for my business that will allow me to reach that goal. And this is really the first step that I recommend for you if you are not yet making the money that you want to be making in your business, is to have a goal. How much income do you want to make, let's say, per month? I think that's a nice thing to start with. So how much money do you want to make per month? And of course, you can map that out and have it be a yearly amount as well, just to give yourself kind of the bigger figure. Choose that number and sit with it for a moment and assess the number. Does it feel good to you? What would you do with that much money? What would it allow you to change in your life? And just make sure, first off, you feel comfortable with that number, because if it's a huge leap, sometimes there can be some resistance to going there right away. And you actually have to lower the number, not because you deserve less, but because you need to grow your capacity and you need to get your nervous system comfortable with that larger number. So really just be honest with yourself, pick a number, check in with yourself. Do you align with it? Do you resonate with it? Or does it take you out of alignment? Does it make you feel fearful or anxious or overwhelmed or shut down? And if so, walk that number back a little bit until you get to a place where you feel pretty comfortable with it. Maybe there's a little excitement, you're right at that edge of going into overwhelm, but you feel okay about it. So you've got your number, you've got your goal. And then the next thing you need to do is you have to map out how many of your offerings, how many of your products do you need to sell to reach that income goal? And I like to do it on a monthly basis. So have your number for how much you want to make per month, and then map out how many of your services or your products, your offerings you need to sell to reach that goal. And once you do that, you want to sit with that number and see if that feels aligned for you. See if you have the capacity to deliver that many of your products, services, offerings, whatever it is that you do. And I'm sharing all of this with you, one, because I think it's so important. If you are in business for yourself, you have to have your numbers down. You really do. You can't really wing it. If you actually want to be in business and be successful, do your numbers, map them out. It doesn't have to be super complicated. You don't have to have an accounting degree. You can do this on a scratch piece of paper, no problem. But know your numbers. Know what you're working with. Know that things are possible, that it's a reality that you can actually manifest, that you can reach. So do your numbers for that reason, but also do your numbers so that you know if you have the capacity to deliver that quantity. And again, the reason I wanted to bring this in today is because this is where I was having a hiccup with my business. So over the past year, as I was growing and developing my business and mapping out all these structures to reach my income goal, things weren't lining up. No matter which way I organized my business, my products, my offerings, and I played with a lot of different options, I just couldn't make things come together in an aligned way, meaning the money was there, the product sales were there, and my capacity was also there. There was always something that was a little off. And a lot of times it was the feeling like I can't deliver that much. Or it was, if I deliver it in that way, it's taking me out of alignment with the way that I want to work. Like, I don't want to serve 100 people in my immersion. I like serving a small group where everybody gets hands-on time and everybody gets to speak and everybody gets to know each other. So there was trade-offs, right, based on what I was trying to create. And it was just a sticky point for me. And I continued to work with it week after week, played with different scenarios, different numbers, crunching the numbers in all different ways, organizing my offerings in all different ways, and it just wasn't lining up. And so I just sat with the curiosity, with the question, asking myself, my higher self, my business, asking the universe, how can I generate the income that I desire in my business? How can I structure my business to reach this income goal, to generate this income? And I kept letting go and letting go and letting go. And nothing was coming. Nothing was coming through. Again, I was putting the puzzle together in all different ways, and it just wasn't lining up. And this is where the eclipse gave me a little course correction. And it dropped in something new, a new product, I guess you could call it, a new offering, a new job almost. It dropped this new thing in for me and said, this is the missing puzzle piece. And as soon as it dropped in, and again, I'll share that in future episodes. I know it's a cliffhanger right now, but as soon as this new thing dropped in, it was like my nervous system relaxed and it was like, yes, now I can reach my income goals. No problem. Now I can reach my income goals. I needed this completely out of left field thing to drop in that I'm going to begin doing for myself as a business to get aligned and to come into this place where I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. This is how I'm going to generate the income that I'm desiring. This was the missing puzzle piece. And I can keep doing these other things, but these other things alone, on their own, and based on my own capacity, just can't quite generate the money that I'm seeking. So I hope all of that is making sense because I'm not reading a script. I'm just talking in real time to you. But if you have found yourself kind of moving through an interesting wormhole during this eclipse, and now that we're post-eclipse, you feel yourself in a new place, things have changed. And if things have changed specifically around you and the work you're doing in the world and your business, this might be a really good time for you to step back and assess your business, assess your income goals, See if there's anything you want to let go of in your business. See if there's anything new that you want to bring into your business, and run the numbers. Again, what's your income goal? How much do you have to sell to reach your income goal? Do you have the desire to do that? Do you have the capacity, the energy to do that, the motivation to do that? And see if things line up. And for you, they might line up right away. You're like, no problem. That sounds amazing. I can do that. Because if you have that clarity and if you feel confident in your energy about those numbers, then it's just a matter of, working some strategies, and you will get to those numbers. You will generate that money. But if things aren't quite aligned, if things feel off, if the desire is not there, the motivation is lacking a little, or you just are questioning your own capacity, it's going to be really hard for you to reach that goal. No matter how good you are at the work that you do, it's going to be hard to reach that goal. So assess things. Who are you today? Who are you now, post-eclipse? How's your business doing? What kind of income do you want to make in your business? Do you have the capacity to sell that many services or products or offers to reach that income goal? And if not, be open to maybe a new offering coming in, a new product that you're going to sell to come in, or be open to some new structure for your business that could likely come out of left field, that could surprise you even, to help you get there. And trust the process. I am such a firm believer in asking the right questions, asking yourself, asking your business, asking the universe, asking your higher self, asking other people the right questions. And if the answer isn't coming, well, it's always coming, to be honest. This is what I think. When you ask the right questions, you trigger something within yourself, within the universe, where the answer is starting to come into form. And it may take a while. And it comes sometimes quicker if you are very refined in the way that you're asking your question. You have to be very clear about what it is that you're seeking, or the answer that you're seeking. You have to get really clear and be very refined with how you ask your questions. But when you ask the question, the answer begins to come forth, and it will land usually when you're least expecting it, out of the blue, and fill in those missing pieces for you so that you can begin to move forward with a solid structure, solid business, a solid income plan, all of the things. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to share with you today. And I'm sorry that I'm not giving you the full picture here. You're like, what is this other thing Amy's going to be doing? I will tell you in time when I feel really, really confident and sure that it's all coming together. But in the meantime, I think I gave you some good stuff to work with today. And I always love to hear from people about what they're experiencing, what they're going through. Have you had an identity shift? Has your business changed, or some other part of your life? Has it changed dramatically? I would love to know about that. I'm so into that kind of thing. So you're welcome to shoot me a DM on Instagram, or you can also send me an email. And then just know that I am here for you. One of the things that is clear is that I want to continue doing one-on-one work with people, and that includes my intuitive energy clearing sessions, which are really powerful, a powerful way to bust through blocks and to take a quantum leap, to be honest, in any part of your life. Those are my intuitive energy clearings, human design readings, super powerful. It's a great way to get a map, a map of you, a map of your life that you can apply, starting immediately, to guide you in your life, to maybe course correct you a little bit in your life. So human design reading, another way that you can work with me. And then I also do one-on-one business mentoring, and I have a one-on-one business catalyst session if you just want to do a one-off with me. Those are ways that we can work together one-on-one. And let me just say that when you're in the shift, when a new identity has landed and who you've been up until this point has just been washed away, it can be helpful sometimes to have somebody to check in with, to have a guide, to do a little energy work, to get a new map that you can start using in your life. It can be helpful. I definitely have several people that I work with quite frequently to help me do this thing called being human. So, all right, sending you so much love. Thanks again for listening in, and I will catch you on the next episode, which will likely be in a couple of weeks. Have a beautiful day.